Welcome to the Parkland Report. My name is Seamus Riley. Joining me today, Tris Henderson, Director of Business Training. Welcome to the Parkland Report.
Thank you, Seamus.
Tell me a little bit about business training. What do you do out there?
Well, business training, we kind of consider ourselves like an arm of the college that reaches out into the community and specifically to businesses. And we provide professional development, training, short-term training specifically, which is different from the campus, the academic departments. We also provide some coaching and have started to get into some mentoring, as well as some continuing education for massage therapists, for dental hygienists, things like that.
So are business training units pretty popular and common for all community colleges in the state?
Yes, they are. I'd say most of the community colleges in the state do have departments like ours.
So while you're targeting sort of business in the community, are you also teaching some academic type things, or are they related academically?
Sure, and I think one example of that is the tractor trailer training program.
Mm-hmm.
So individuals can take a 4-week course full-time to obtain their CDL.
How do you go about connecting with members in the community, either businesses or individuals? How do people know what's going on at business training?
Well, we have a publication that we send out to most businesses in our district, in the 505 district, and we do that 5 times a year. We also do a publication in conjunction with community education, and all of our courses are in there that are open to the public, and that's 3 times a year, the fall, the spring, and the summer. And we do an email weekly to individuals on the list who have taken our classes and requested to be on it, so we get the word out that way. We also meet with employers in our district to talk about what type of training needs, consulting, coaching, even maybe assessments that they're needing.
How quickly can you go about setting up from initial contact from an employer to setting a class up? How long does it take?
I think it varies, but we do try to be very responsive. So, a couple weeks, a month is sometimes nice, depending on how much development needs to be done. But if there isn't much development and maybe even not much customization, we might be able to do it, within a week's turnaround for the smaller things like computer training and such.
Give me some examples of some things that you do on a regular basis with regular instructors that you have for companies around town.
Sure. I would say leadership is our biggest topic for the past, 3 years maybe even longer. So it's a lot of soft skills. We do conflict resolution, we do coaching, giving recognition, communication is a big one. We use the DISC profile, teamwork, those types of things.
So a company, say for example, would contact you and say, we would like some leadership training, we'd like to do the DISC profile, which sort of examines individuals' sort of personality traits, work habit traits. How long would the training typically take?
It honestly depends, but we usually, with the leadership, it'd be 4-hour blocks of time, and sometimes some companies would only like to take people off the floor for like 2 hours or so. So we could do that, and we try to work around their schedule. But the 4-hour time blocks work really well, and then to do those every other week or every 2 weeks. We don't like to go more than a month apart, especially if it's a series and we want to make sure that we are meeting the objectives that the company has in regards to what they wanted to accomplish.
So how do you hear back? I mean, do you do a survey of the companies after they've completed the training to find out how they've done?
Yes, we do. So we have an evaluation after each training session that the participants complete, and then we compile those back at our office, and then we send we share with the company representative and with the instructor a summary of those evaluations. And then we also follow up personally just with the company representative, usually around 6 months later, just to see what the impact was, if things are working, what isn't working, just an additional follow-up.
And training can be done either at the facility, the business training facility on Mattis Avenue, or at the company location?
That's correct, yes.
So that must be very attractive for companies who don't necessarily want to take a whole group of people off of their property for a while.
Right. Yeah, it just honestly depends. Some organizations want to get their people out so that they aren't, there isn't as much interruptions and such. And then others, they would like to be just for us to come to them. And, you know, it just depends on what the company prefers and whether or not they have the, you know, facilities in which to have the training.
Now, do you have a state organization or state-supported activities that you're a part of? I know there are some grant-funded things that have been in the past, but do you have a state organization that sort of helps to organize and operate like lots of different types of training across the state?
Sure, we do. It's called We Train, and so as you talked about earlier, you mentioned earlier, there's a group of us through, let's see, how many community colleges? 48, yeah. They don't all belong, but there's a high percentage. I want to say it's like 30 to 35, so that we have a membership for We Train, and we meet usually twice a year. We have a conference that we attend, and then we also have regional meetings that we meet together. We have a speaker, and then we typically have some best practice conversations, and we support one another that way. And so we can also reach out to them when we come up with a specific training need that we may not have in Champaign.
I know that you also have a national organization, Learning Resource Network. Can you talk a little bit about what that does for you, and how do you use that in your business?
We have been using Learn for a couple years, but maybe even a little bit longer, but I guess more prominently in the past 2 years. And the reason we like to work with them is because they do a lot of surveying of organizations like ours, and then they can provide us with some benchmarks in order to help us be successful in our areas. And so, you know, they provide all different types of data, and therefore we can compare ourselves to how we're doing, you know, amongst others as well.
Well, we're very excited to have business training at Parkland College. We know it's a tremendous resource for District 505, and thanks very much for being here in Parkland Report.
Thank you very much, Seamus.
We'll be right back after this short break.
What we're doing in the lab this morning is that I'm teaching a class from Conair, and I'm teaching them how to TIG weld.
We put together a customized training package for the Business Training Center. Basically took some pieces from other courses that we had that was related to what Scott and the people at our company that requested this business are looking for.
We wanted to bring some of our less experienced maintenance people down here and give them a chance to broaden their skill range. At Conair, we want to provide and encourage a multi-craft environment, because every skill you bring to the table gives more value to each employee.
I'd like them to be able to relate the prints and documentations to the physical hands-on world, and so that when they see something that's in an electrical schematic, to be able to go over and identify it and troubleshoot its operation on the actual piece of equipment. They
tell me what they want to learn. I've asked them a couple of times if they're getting good information out of it and good practice that relates to work, and they always say yeah.
We've been working on TIG welding in the welding class, and industrial controls and motors and drives in the electrical class. Troubleshooting, things that we would use in our jobs on a day-to-day basis.
It gives us a lot wider range to complete our job at work. We don't have to rely on one or two people. Everyone will have skill level to make the factory more productive and get things back up and running faster.
To have a facility like we have here with the ability to be in the shop and get a lot of time in just practicing, it's something that you don't have at a job very often, is just time and materials for just practicing. So I think for a business, this is an incredible facility.
The most rewarding part of this training is going to be leaving here knowing more than what we came in, making our jobs easier every day.
For me, it's working with the people and sharing knowledge and information back and forth. Everybody, both in my regular daytime classes and these specialty training programs, they want to be here. They're trying to learn new skills so that they can become better equipped to get promotions, get opportunities, maybe new challenges, and to be able to work with people and pass some of that information along that's the enjoyable part.
Lets you have more job satisfaction. You can repair this electrically, or if something's broken, you can go weld it and repair that. It doesn't limit you as a person.
I think that if we can train our employees and do well in this area, then we can keep businesses in this area, bring more businesses in. You know, it's a benefit for the economy of the entire community, and I think it's great.
Welcome back. Joining me in this segment, R.J. Rowland. He is in charge of the Highway Construction Career Program here at Parkland College. R.J., welcome to Parkland Report.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the program. When did it start? How long have you been doing it?
The program started 4.5 years ago, and it is a pre-apprenticeship program. It's designed to get the students prepared to enter into an apprenticeship with any of the trade unions.
So what was the purpose of it? It focuses on the Highway Construction Career Program, so the intent is, I suppose, that it's connected in some way to highway construction.
Yeah, it's sponsored by a grant from the Department of Transportation, and they pay for everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. There's nothing that the students have to pay for at all out of pocket.
So what is it that the students get as part of the program?
Between a combination of classroom training and hands-on training, just the general skills necessary to enter into an apprenticeship, like they're going to improve their math, they're going to learn how to interview for an apprenticeship, they're going to build a resume, they're going to get all their safety training, OSHA 30 training, first aid, a bunch of different equipment training. They will learn how to operate a backhoe, a crane, skid steers, a forklift.
So are these like industry certificates as opposed to academic certificates, or is there some academic training as well?
No, it's all vocational credits that the students get, but the sole purpose is so they can get into an apprenticeship.
How long does it take typically for the students to go through the program?
It's a 15-week program. You'll go 4 days a week, 8 hours a day for 15 weeks.
And do they get a stipend for participating in the program?
Yeah. The stipends just this July 1st, they increased the stipend to $10 an hour for the students.
So they're essentially getting it's sort of like a full-time work experience program for 15 weeks.
Yeah.
So at what point do the students then begin to engage with employers, or are the employers there from the very beginning?
Yeah, from right off the bat, we encourage them to apply for apprenticeships when they come up. A lot of them are monthly. Some of them take applications the whole time, but we encourage them the entire time to go after it and get what they want.
So obviously, especially in highway construction, I mean, things have not been very good in the union halls, and they've been kind of quiet. Have things picked up?
Yeah, it's actually been insane this last year. My last two classes that have graduated, the one this spring and then last fall, I think I have like 60% placement into apprenticeships. Those aren't just a job, they're in apprenticeships. And typically, they're going to start anywhere between $15 and $19 an hour as a first-year apprentice. And then once they're journeymen, the wages are the low end is $30 an hour.
So when a student enters into a union hall and into an apprenticeship program, are they guaranteed employment for 5 years then, or?
Well, the only guarantee is that they're going to pay taxes and die, but it's up to them. I mean, if they want to work hard, they'll stay working.
So is the program designed for a particular type of student or for any student out there who's interested?
It is for any student, but our target audience is minorities, women, and disadvantaged individuals.
So have you had a lot of success in working and gathering people in the program? I mean, how do you go about recruiting to get in the program?
Well, we do it through social media. We do some targeted marketing. We're mailing to certain neighborhoods, postcards and stuff, and a lot of it is word of mouth. You know, if somebody gets into an apprenticeship and they're making really good money, their friends want to know how they can do that.
Do you find from the demographic, though, that you described, do you find that a lot of these people aren't even aware that these opportunities exist?
Yeah, and you know, the general attitude from anybody is that, well, you got to know somebody to get into that apprenticeship. And really what that means is that if somebody knew somebody, it's because they told them what to do so that they could get in. And that's what we're doing. We're telling our students what they need to do so they can get into an apprenticeship program. And if they listen, if they do all the things that we ask them to do, they will get into an apprenticeship program. We're very strict on showing up on time. Like, we start class at 8 a.m. and my students are required to be there at 7:50. We're not going to start class till 8, but they have to be there at they come in at 7:51, they're late. And then they can get a cup of coffee, they can put their work boots on, or go to the bathroom or whatever, but we require them to be there. And cell phones are absolutely prohibited for any reason whatsoever.
Students also get a chance to do some projects around campus as well? They've done
Yeah, we always pour concrete, and we'll usually generally pour 8 yards at a time, which for the students they think it's quite a bit, but you know, if you're going to be a laborer or a cement finisher, that's nothing. But that we always do that. We always do very aggressive projects. I mean, it's borderline on maybe a little too much sometimes, but I look at it as like we're going to push them and they're going to learn, and they 9 times out of 10 adapt and get it.
Rise to the challenge.
Yeah.
RJ, thanks very much for being here.
All right.
Appreciate it very much. Thanks a lot.
All right. Well, thank you.
We'll be right back after this short break.
It's a 12-week program offered through Parkland College. You'll touch on a little bit of everything, almost every construction trade there is. Runs Monday to Friday, standard work hours, about 8 to 4:30. Starts off with the classroom section. You'll be with a lot of great instructors, and you'll move on to hands-on. And everybody that's going to teach you has a lot of experience in what they're doing, so it's a good class.
Oh boy, that's the good part. It didn't cost me anything. Just some time, some little effort. Somebody told me about the class, and I did a little research, found out about it, and it hasn't cost me a dime.
Able-bodied, drug-free, willing to learn, willing to work, always show up on time, never be late. It's generally just be responsible. You have to have a high school diploma, pass a drug test, and have your driver's license. You got to pass a fairly simple reading test and math test. If and when you pass that, you got to pass an interview, about 20 minutes.
Then I think they look at things like your motivation and, you know, are you dressed right? Are you dressed properly? Do you look and sound like you really want to succeed and be a part of the class?
There's life skills, math, actual hands-on like we're doing now, and there's some equipment training, and there's a OSHA safety training, which is really interesting too.
Boys and their toys, JLG, lifts, front end loader, backhoe, skid steer, the crane to actually pick up a container, a truck, size container and move it from place to place. Where do you get to do that kind of stuff? Besides all the neat hand tools that you're provided with, I also got to use the bandsaw, pipe cutter for not only heavy pipe but also copper threading pipe threader.
We've used the tampers, circular saws, concrete vibrator, just really too many to mention, a whole long list. How does construction work happen? What's the ins and outs? You know, how do unions operate a little bit? You learn a little bit about union history, how to go about finding a job or making an interview. And
they should learn how they can get jobs in the union, what they could be able to take with them to the job site from all of this training. We teach them how to use every type of possible tool we can. They should take away at least an idea of how to use all of the tools and the equipment that's in any of the trades that they want to go into.
I walk away from this class with learning how to get along with people who are in the trades and what it's like to work side by side and shoulder to shoulder with people who are doing the trades.
Hopefully it'll set me up for a decent lifelong career. This has been a lot of fun. The guys are good, and I have a feeling that the work will be much the same.
Welcome back to the Parkland Report. Joining me now, Jessie McCluskey-Gilbert. She's the Program Manager at Business Training, and welcome to the Parkland Report.
Hi, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what you do at Business Training.
Sure. I'm the Program Manager for what we call public offerings. So we offer courses out to the public for classes to upgrade their skills for their current position or for a future position.
And these are positions, I mean, these are people mostly working in
working
professional
professionals.
jobs. Okay.
Correct.
For any kind of profession or specific professions? Or?
We have a variety of
Okay.
courses. So we have courses that range from computer skills training to workplace safety, leadership, management, soft skills training as well. So kind of runs the gamut.
Okay. Now, how do you know, like, you know, new emerging trends or new emerging things that are going on in the professional world? How do you keep pace with what's going on in the
Well, we try
professional
to.
world? Yeah.
There's various ways. I try to spend some time researching class ideas, and that's looking at reading the newspaper, seeing what's coming out in the community specifically, as well as looking at what other community colleges are offering. They might have a better idea that I haven't stumbled upon yet, so I look to see what they're offering, as well as an interest database. So we collect information from people that call in and say, hey, do you have this class? And we may not, but if we get enough phone calls, you know, we need to start offering that class. So there's various different ways that we research what classes we should offer.
Do you pay attention to what new companies are emerging out of either the research park or coming into town?
Yes, I do keep track of that through reading the newspapers and attending some different functions throughout the community.
What about nationally? I mean, do you pay attention to sort of what's happening on LinkedIn or emerging trends or human resources sites like that to get a sense of what's happening?
I am more in touch with the human resource side. That is a little bit easier because we're involved with Central Illinois Human Resource Group, and I do get updates pretty regularly from them. As far as nationally, I would say I stick with the newspaper, and there are some LinkedIn articles that we receive, as well as they get forwarded through you to my supervisor, Tris, to me.
Yeah, very good. So once you get an idea or a concept, like how long does it take for you to organize a faculty and curriculum to get something going?
That varies as well too. Sometimes it's pretty easy to do because I know the perfect person and they're able to teach it. They might already have the curriculum in their back pocket. However, if it's a new idea and I need to find someone, you know, who can even teach it, I do have to do a little bit of work, and that kind of stalls the progress a little bit. And as far as how we market our programs, so it could be, right now I'm working on spring, so it's October, I'm working on spring, I could have something easily out in January for someone. However, that's if everything falls perfectly in place with the marketing timeline and finding the instructor.
Do you have canned programs that you use or existing curriculum or training programs that you just sort of plug in?
Specifically, off the top of my head, that would be our computer skills training classes, our Excel level 1 through 3 Word, Access, PowerPoint, those are I will consider them canned because we have the book and the curriculum in it. So yes, we do have those. Some of our leadership classes, they're through Achieve Global that we use, and although we have an instructor that adds his own personality onto them, they are considered somewhat canned.
What are some of the more interesting programs that you've had to interact with personally that you've learned about you didn't know existed?
Actually, I'd have to say our CDL training program, just because I didn't know anything about the tractor-trailer profession, and I continue to learn more and more about it, the ins and outs of it that I never would have known without being in this position.
And that's a particularly interesting program because, first of all, it's an academic sort of training certificate program, and one of the high-demand professions in the country right now.
Absolutely. They have a driver shortage, and to try to find qualified drivers is somewhat difficult for the industry, which amazes me because there's so many people looking for jobs, but to someone that wants to be able to do that as a profession, you have to find the right candidate that wants to do that, whether it's to drive that many hours a day or to be away from their family. It's a lot of different variables that go into that decision.
Do you get a chance to interact with the students who take our classes, and what do you learn from them when you're interacting with them?
I would like to interact more with them. A lot of our classes are in the evenings, and unfortunately I'm just not in the building during the evenings that they run, 6 to 9:45 at night. However, the CDL training program and the computer skills training classes and leadership, they run throughout the day. And so I do get to talk to them and learn a little bit more about them, why they took the course or why they chose to come to Parkland.
So it seems to be like more common as time passes here that more and more people need more and more training just because the world is changing so quickly. Do you see that as something that you're noticing, that more and more people are coming back for updating and training or brand new training?
Yes, I'm starting to see some individuals that they want to move into that second career, and in their first career didn't need to know how to use Excel, but now they are shifting because they're retiring, but then they're starting a second career and they need that skill that they haven't had before, or they want to just brush up on something before they go to that job interview.
I mean, it seems obvious now, but the Microsoft sort of products, the Excels and the Access and all those, they seem now to be pretty common, and more and more people seem to know those programs. Are there emerging programs, like, say, for example, in social media or other types of sort of computer type products that
yes,
people are learning?
Excel is still our #1 computer class going. We are looking at offering Instagram for business, so I know that's not exactly Microsoft, but it's computer based that people are using for business use, advertising and getting the word out that we are not using, but we are looking at using it ourselves, as well as offering a training course for it.
But even Excel now is not quite just a table anymore. I mean, it's quite complicated in terms of the illustrations and graphics and everything that are included.
Right, it is. And that would be Excel level 3.
I haven't quite got to there yet. So what do you see as on the horizon for business training? Do you see, in terms of the public offerings, that more and more people are going to start to look to community colleges and business training to get that updated training, either for themselves or for existing employees or looking to make a transition?
Absolutely. I think individuals are going to look to the community college and for business training to find that quick training that they need, that they're going to be able to get that certificate of completion to put on their resume. They're going to want something now and at a quicker pace, and that's what we do. We're able to offer something immediately for their needs, for resume or for companies to get a training in. So I think they're going to be coming more towards us for that type of training, as even more so when we get more online classes.
I was going to say, with the flexibility on the time side, so people can take it after work or on a Saturday or something, but no, the online functionality is really going to be something that can change how we can offer courses, right?
Right, and we partner with 2 different organizations right now, mainly Ed2Go provides a lot of training for us, as well as You Got Class, and we're able to offer some online classes that way. You Got Class is more soft skills, whereas You Got Class, right now there's a lot of career training classes online.
Well, thank you very much for being here on the Parkland Report. I appreciate you coming by.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this edition of Parkland Report. We'll see you back here next time.